Today, we have a massive update on the Mitch Marner injury, as well as the Carolina Hurricanes are looking really scary going into the playoffs, and I'll break it all down for you coming up on this episode of Hat-Trick HQ. But before we get into it, just want to say that 78.9% of you guys watching this aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you're big hockey fans, just like all of us here, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button if you're not already, for your daily dose of hockey content. But with that said, let's get right to the first topic of the video today, which is Guentzl making an instant impact for this Carolina Hurricanes club. And if we take a look here, this is from Big Head Hockey on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it these days. Is Jake Guentzl in Carolina in 8 games since being traded from the trade deadline. He has 2 goals, 10 points, which is tied for, or is 4th in the NHL, has 12 points, which is 4th in the NHL. He also is plus 11. He's been on ice for 16 goals for and 0 against. His 5v5 goals for percentage is 63, and no forward in the NHL has more ice time and a higher goals for percentage. They are 6-1-1 since the acquisition at the trade deadline. He's shooting 8%. They do say he could be shooting better, but in my eyes, having 12 points in 8 games is already great. And he is plus 1 net penalty, so hasn't taken very many penalties in these 8 games. And they say here he has a 58.89 5v5 goals for percentage with Sebastian Aho, but it is slightly better than when Guentzl was with Crosby at a 58.18% goals for percentage when he was playing with Crosby. So a slightly better percentage there while playing with Aho so far in these 8 games. And they say here the average score, game score is 2.38, which is 13th in the NHL. And they say here Carolina with Guentzl is a scary, scary team. And I think if you're looking at this, you have to agree with them. The Carolina Hurricanes are looking phenomenal so far since the trade deadline with a 6-1-1 record. I think they're tied for second in the East right now with 87 points. I think New York is in first in the East with either 88, 89. That's the New York Rangers. And I think this team has looked great with the addition of Jake Guentzl so far. I mean, this guy's such an elite goal scorer that he's been implemented into this top line with Sebastian Aho, and they've just linked up perfectly. He has, 12 points so far in these 8 games, and most of them have been assists, some of them have been goals, but we know that Jake Guentzl is an elite offensive player, so having him paired with top guys like Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis have just been great for this guy's game. He's been implemented into this lineup with ease and has just slid right in here, and this team has not missed a jump, hasn't missed a beat. They're always out there beating on their opponents every single night, and having such an elite guy in their repertoire, in their top line now, going down the latter half of the season is going to be big for them. Because Carolina has always been there around the playoffs. They've always gone on a decent run. They've always got the fans hyped up. The bunch of jerks down there in Carolina. I love that. But they've always needed that one missing piece, which I think they got here in Jake Guentzl to get them over the hump for the playoffs this season. And I think this is just great. And if we take a look at their line so far, this is one of the best top 6s in the NHL, in my opinion, with Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Jake Guentzl on that top line, with Evgeny Kuznetsov, who they picked up from Washington, as well with Martin Nikas, who's a phenomenal young player here in the league, has really put his name on the map this season, and Andrei Svechnikov, who everybody knows as Mr. Svechnikov from that playoff run just a couple years ago. And like I said, this team, this top 6 is elite. You have so much talent up here in this top 6 that this second line could potentially be a first line on some teams here in the NHL, and they have such great offense, such great defense. You could make a case for them having below average goaltending, but I think Pyotr Kochetkov has looked great here in Carolina during his time there, and it is great to see this Carolina team finally have this team that they could go on a deep run with, potentially make the Stanley Cup. But I really do think that this team is really going to make the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I think they without a doubt, they are. They have Jake Guentzl, like I said, who's an elite scorer. He has a great shot. He is fast. And now they pair him with Sebastian Aho, who's a great playmaker. and a great goal scorer as well. When you have two elite offensive players on your top line, you know you're doing something right. And the Carolina Hurricanes are looking really scary going into the playoffs this year, and I'm really excited for it. They're always a team who I kind of check in and cheer for when Montreal isn't in the playoffs. I just love the storm surge, the bunch of jerks motto, and all this stuff they got going on within their game operations down in Carolina. It is really fun to see, and I'm just really happy for this team that I think they have a team that's finally going to get over the hump and potentially win a Stanley Cup again this year. And I'm really excited for this club, and I'm so excited that Jake Guentzl is just meshing in here perfectly with this team. It's just great. But we're going to get into the second topic of the video here, which is Marner injury update. And if we take a look here, this is from Luke Fox on Twitter, but it's from Sheldon Keefe at practice earlier today. He said Mitch Marner has been upgraded to day and is progressing well. And if you're a Leafs fan, this is huge news for you because your boy, your star guy in Mitch Marner is, going day to day from week to week, which is great news. It's showing signs that he will be back very soon. It's just getting him out on the ice, seeing how he feels out there on that ankle, and, without some time and stuff like this, he will be back out there in the NHL, suiting up for the Leafs very soon. And this is just great news for Leafs fans, great news for this hockey club because they've been missing him a little bit. They have done fine without him. Max Domi has meshed up there with Austin Matthews very well on that top line, in my opinion. But having Mitch Marner back, the guy who's assisted so many of Austin Matthews' goals this season, will be great for them going into the final stretch where they're trying to clinch a playoff spot and into the playoffs where, they wanted to go on a deep run this year. They want to potentially be contending for a Stanley Cup, and having Mitch Marner back, one of your star players, is just going to be huge for that. And if we take a look at his stats so far this season, obviously, Mitch Marner has been great. He's had 76 points in 62 games, with 51 of them being assists and 25 of them being goals. And the one thing that I think is a little bit overlooked in Mitch Marner's game is his defensive side. He's a great 200-foot player, and he's great on the back check. He's great on the forecheck. He's just great at getting his stick in and poking pucks out from his opponents. And I think this is one side of his game that will really help the Leafs once he comes back. Obviously, everybody knows his offensive playmaking ability is just amazing. The guy has a third eye out there when it comes to passing, and I think this Toronto Maple Leafs team with Mitch Marner back is really going to look good here down the stretch, and I really hope we do get to see him back soon. Obviously, there's no timetable of when he will return. It is day to day at this point, so once he gets out there and feels like he can compete and get back into an NHL game, I feel like that's when we'll see him. But we got to give a huge shout out to the Toronto Maple Leafs coaching staff and their staff behind the scenes that have been working with Mitch Marner in rehab, getting this ankle right and getting him ready to be out there for the end of the season and into the playoffs. I mean, this is great because we've seen a lot of guys with high ankle sprains this season that have been out for months, but with Marner, it was a mild case. He was going week to week, now day to day, which is huge news for Leafs fans. But I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the Mitch Marner injury? Do you think he'll be back soon, and how big is this for the Leafs? And let me know what you think about the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they're looking great this season, but I want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. We're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy Martin. Martin, we see all the time down below in the comment section. Really appreciate you commenting on every video. He says, KC, great show as always. Thanks, from Winnipeg. Like I said, shout out to you, Martin. Really appreciate your comments on the video there. And I've always wanted to check out the Peg. Obviously, myself from as far east in Canada as you can get in Newfoundland. I've always wanted to check out the West Coast, do a little trip there with checking out the Jets, the Canucks, the Flames, the Oilers. I think it would just be a fun one. But shout out to you for watching from all the way from Winnipeg. Really appreciate seeing your support here on the channel. But if you guys enjoyed this, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,500 subscribers here on the channel. So if you enjoy hockey, just like all of us here, and you're looking for your daily dose of hockey content, you found it right here at Hattrick HQ. So go down below and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did on Matt Murray and the Toronto Maple Leafs yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.